Welcome to the Average Australian Podcast.
Oh, what a fabulous volley from Tim Cahill! You will not see a better goal than that at the World Cup this season. Oh,
Big
great
save.
save again by
It's a
Schwarzer!
huge save.
Cahill! Tim Cahill has done it again!
Might drop for Fornaroli! Oh, that is simply brilliant!
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Average Australian Football Podcast. This is episode 16. I am Chad Tondu, joined by Edin once again. We are here to discuss A-League, EPL and everything random that's happened around Australian football in general. Edin, welcome back, how you been?
Yeah, good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been an interesting week, I guess.
Yeah. Feels like Friday though now with the
It does, doesn't it?
The Australia Day public holiday, so that's good, and plenty of football I think this weekend as well, so that should be good.
What do you think of the football last weekend? Do you have a favourite match or anything like that?
Oh, look, I mean, I think it was definitely an action-packed weekend. Maybe not the greatest of football. Yeah, there weren't any. I mean, probably if I had to pick one, I'd say Glory Victory was a pretty good match actually. Good crowd, good atmosphere, plenty of drama, and Glory getting up again. I thought that was actually quite a good game. Probably the pick of the bunch for me.
Yeah, I think the Glory game was the best game of the week. I think the winners of the week was probably Wanderers, I think, just because they had to win and results sort of went their way and they're like right back in the finals hunt now, it feels like.
Yeah, it was an important win for them, I think.
What do you make over in Brisbane with Petrarchos? Like, he's leaving. There's obviously McLaren, Luke De Vere. Like, is this just a victim of the salary cap? Like, we've spoken about it before, the FFA, like...
Well, and look, and a little bit of that, and also I think it's just interesting that some of the stuff around McLaren's come to a head again, because he was benched again, and, you know, a few people, they're speculating that he is being punished for his contract saga. And then a few people saying, no, it's purely on form, but that's an ongoing saga for them as well that they need to fix. So drama off the park, I think, for Raw big time at the moment.
You think it's a big loss, losing Dimitri, like at the end of the year?
I think so. And it was interesting because that's when it clicked for me. I remember we talked last week about Risdon moving on and you were saying most likely he's gone to another A-League side. And then there was some news about the Jets basically having signed a few quality players that they weren't ready to announce yet. So I thought maybe Risdon's one. But obviously they've come out and announced Petratos. If they've got Petratos and Risdon, that's a pretty big
that's
coup for the Newcastle Jets, because they're both quality youngsters that they can build a side around. So that's a big move for them. The fact that Brisbane Roar couldn't tie them up, that's a bit of a worry, especially if McLaren goes at the end of the season as well. They're going to be in a bit of trouble. So
you don't think that's purely the salary cap being a restriction in terms of, like, because they're victims of their own success in a manner of speaking, aren't they?
Well, there is that, and Brisbane Roar, it's happened to Brisbane Roar in particular before, where they've sort of had their side torn up a little bit by salary cap, and you do get that players will just move to another A-League side because, you know, they'll get a significant bump
wage
in salary.
Yeah.
And that's where this TV deal needs to kick in. You know, you're talking about the possibility of Channel 10 coming in and doing some sort of deal there with the FFA. How much is that going to be worth? How much are we really going to see here? The salary cap needs to be bumped up big time. Because, yeah, like you said, it's like, I mean, Petratos might have moved over from Brisbane to Jets for, like, in what could be, you know, in real terms, like small money.
Yeah, it could be. I think it's because he's home, right? He's like homesick.
Well, it could be that, but, you know, you do get these players that move across just for like a little bit more money because once, you know, the cap is like a juggling act. So there is a little bit of that as well. So something needs to be done there sooner rather than later, I think, about the salary cap, because you will keep seeing this and it just kind of dilutes it. Like, you know, Petratos moves from Brisbane Roar to Jets, so Roar will take a dip, Jets will bump up a little bit, and you just can't build any consistency as a team over the years.
It's difficult, like, in terms of the legacy, right? Because if it's a revolving door, then, like, teams sort of lose that identity of what their playing group is, right? If, like, it just rotates every so often.
That's right. And look, I mean, Brisbane Roar were the classic example when they won the double and all that sort of stuff, and they got torn apart. Barisha went to Victory, and then all sorts of players left. You saw it with Adelaide last season. Like, they lost half their squad. Because
what do you think of him, mate? Your boy Guardiola's going back to Spain.
He's gone. Yeah, look, I mean, it's sad to see him go because I thought he really could have made something there in Adelaide, but it just hasn't worked out for him. He just didn't, I guess, adapt to the league and had a bit of bad luck, and it just didn't work out for him. So sad to see him go because I was hoping for big things. I'm sure Adelaide were as well. But, you know, if he can get himself a deal back in Spain, then maybe that's the best for him, and Adelaide need to look elsewhere. But, you know, they'll be kicking themselves. They let Gite go, they let Sanchez go, and they ended up with Guardiola, and now he's going to do a runner. I still think Adelaide United might be favourites for the wooden spoon.
Yeah, is that Melbourne City win just a false dawn? Because I think things look very bad in Adelaide. Like, I think the Asian Cup starts in March. The start of March, they've got that weird situation with that group that got pulled out of the competition, right? I'm not sure what happens there.
Yeah, I think that was one of the Korean teams got suspended for alleged match fixing.
As you do.
So I don't know. Yeah, no, well, yeah, why not? Bit of match fixing. So I don't know what's going to happen there for Adelaide. I think that makes their run easier. But look, they'd be lucky to get a point out of that Champions League, I reckon. Like, they'd be lucky not to get humiliated in some ways because they don't have any squad depth at all. Like, they're gonna be in big trouble. The only advantage for them is that Asian football is a little bit different. That Champions League, it's a little bit slower and teams do play a different style. And we've seen that work before for teams like the Wanderers. It's not as helter-skelter as it is in the A-League, but just drama for Adelaide United, I think, and I still think they might end up with a wooden spoon this season.
I'm curious if they actually do replace Guardiola, right? Because they don't have a striker. Like, it'll be interesting to see what they can do in these last, week or so of January. Yeah, like you don't hear anything about what they're bringing in. So
apparently I did hear about some international signing that might be on the books or something like that. I don't know, but the other interesting thing is
to replace Holland, James Holland.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and look, and then Amor has actually put his contract discussions on hold until the end of the season. So if he does a runner, like they're trying to tie him up, if he leaves as well, then they're to go from champions to sort of last or second last or whatever, and then lose your coach again and all this sort of stuff, like it just couldn't be going worse for Adelaide United at the moment.
So let's go the start of round 16. Melbourne City beat the Mariners 2-1. It wasn't convincing. Obviously, Roy O'Donovan got sent off pretty early. I think the 23rd minute on the the elbow. What do you make of the game and Valkanis, right, head coach for the rest of the season? Do you agree with that? Because I feel like I think they needed something like external to come in and, you know, shake things up because it seems very, very same-ish at Melbourne City. It just seems to be dragging along at the moment.
Yeah, big time. I'm not seeing much improvement at all since Valkanis has come in. Maybe he tweaked it a little bit to keep that 4 at the back, but boy, do they look sluggish. To be fair to City, I think Cahill's getting good now. Cahill, at the start of the season, I thought, is Cahill going to be a bit of a dud signing for them this year in terms of how much they're paying him? Like, is he just a little bit too old or whatever? But he's come really good now. I mean, he scored both of their goals there, and quality goals as well. And he's finding that form with his head again, which is good for the Socceroos as well. He looks red hot at the moment, but it seems to have come at the expense of Fornaroli. Like, Fornaroli, this is like the worst form he's been in since he's been here. Like, he just looks out of sorts. But then I just don't understand other players as well, like Brandan. He just looks like a shadow of his former self from like 6 weeks ago. I don't get it.
He had all that controversy around like his play acting, and since then he's just dropped off the face of the earth. Like, he hasn't been involved in anything.
He's been off the ball big time, and same as Kamal has been hot and cold.
I wonder if that's a shift. Do you think that's a shift because of the formation? Like, you say what you want about the back three, but like that did allow the wingers more freedom, right?
Well, there's that, and yeah, maybe Valkanis has curbed it a little bit, but I thought they were losing that spark even when Van Schip was there in his last few weeks. And so maybe there's a little bit of tactics. Maybe some people are suggesting, look, maybe they've tweaked their fitness regime to sort of, be ready for the home run. So maybe they're doing some heavy loads now because they look a bit tired and sluggish. Yeah. So maybe there's that. But they just look off the boil. Like pretty much their only good player at the moment really is Cahill up front. And I guess Kilkenny and Jakobsen are still pretty good up the back. Everybody else just looks like in all sorts. Calazzo not doing anything. Bratton, nothing. Kamau, nothing. Brandan, nothing. They're a shambles at the moment, and I think they'll pick up wins against teams like the Mariners and whatnot, but I think that they're out of the title race at this stage. If they can't turn things around and recapture that form from the start of the season, they're out of the picture for me.
You think there's any threat they don't make the top four?
Possibly, because Glory are red hot at the moment.
It's interesting,
we'll talk
right,
about
because,
that in a sec.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because like both Melbourne City and Brisbane, there's question marks over them, and like obviously Western Sydney Wanderers, Perth Glory, I suppose Newcastle, though they've sort of dropped off a little bit lately. Those three clubs can overtake City and Brisbane. It's just like there's no real clear contender for that third and fourth spot at the moment for me.
Oh, look, I mean, I mentioned it last week. I think if anybody's going to go on a run, it's going to be the Glory.
You really think so? Yeah.
Yeah, they it's coming for them now. It's starting to click.
I think it's my own personal fan cynicism in like having faith in them because like I just don't trust the defense. Like even in this game,
look, I mean,
like
they're copying them.
Had Berisha converted the penalty, this game was done. So I mean,
but that's another thing. Look, Liam Reddy's in red hot form. I think that's like the second pen that he saved, or maybe even the third, or something like that.
I'll put my hand up. I did not rate him at the start of this season. I thought he was a train wreck. Like I honestly did, but he's like really impressed.
He's impressed. Just the forward line, just having Taggart fit and playing consecutive games, he's showing just how good he is. Oh, and Castro's just pulling the strings. Like he's a machine for a guy his age, and especially in the middle of an Australian summer. He's just a monster in that midfield up front there. He's really pulling the strings. But for me, Taggart's the big difference because Keogh's gone off the boil.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. And Taggart's just on fire. I think that's 7 from 11 now. And you look at the amount of minutes that he's played. He's one of the best strikers for strike rate now. He's red hot. If they can keep him fit and they keep that front three, the goals will rain in for them, I think, for the Glory. They were tipped to be top 4 at the start of the season anyway, maybe even top 2. So if anybody's going to go on a run, I think it's them.
I know we said this before, but sort of like it was evident in this game for the Victory that they sort of missed what game they should have rested in. I've always felt like the Wellington game was when they needed to use their bench, use their depth. And to see Marco Rojas be on the bench against Perth Glory, I don't know if that's like devaluing what Perth Glory can do, or if it's just like taking them lightly, but like I felt like their whole structure, their whole strategy going into that 8-day period, that 3 games, I thought it was like very poor, personally.
Yeah, well, I think Muscat stuffed it up there a little bit with his man management and rotation and whatnot because, like you said, going into that 3-game period, we said, look, they're second now. Depending on results, they could be challenging for the title and pushing Sydney FC, or it could be out of their reach. They started off well enough, picked up a win in that first one, but I thought, I agree with what you said. They really should have rested everybody for Wellington. That should have been the one they said, look, away to Wellington, probably going to get a loss anyway, maybe a draw at best. Rest your big guns. They just look sluggish against Wellington. Like they look slow, sluggish, really struggling, and then had to go to Perth, and that's when they rested the players. And I think Perth are too good at home for that. They shouldn't have. They made the mistake and they paid the price.
The only defense I have is that, like, he looked at the fixtures and he goes, well, we're heading to Perth. That's the big travel. And then we've got the Sydney game. So maybe Perth has to be the game just to break it up a little bit. That could be the only thing I could understand. Yeah.
Yeah, and look, it's not over because they play Sydney twice still.
We'll talk about that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big one now, the Australia Day game, because, like I said, Sydney win, 11 points, it's all over. Melbourne win, back to 5. They're back in it. So
you do agree that if Sydney win, it's all over?
Oh, if they win this one, I think, yeah. If it blows out to 11...
Yeah, so if it's a draw, you don't think it's over? Because me personally, I think if it's a draw, it's over.
No, look, I'll give Victory... Again, Victory can go on a run.
I don't think it's even to do with Victory. I think it's purely Sydney. They're so consistent that if Melbourne don't take points from them themselves, they're relying too much on the competition to do their work for them.
Oh, that's true.
I think it has to be 3 points. I think it has to be.
Look, and I think they're going to go all guns blazing in this one. But you're right. Look, I can't see Sydney losing for the rest of the season.
Like,
so
if you
Melbourne
take
need to make
Victory
up
away,
the points.
because that's what you're doing, right? If it's 8 points, say both games end a draw, you have to say, where does Sydney lose 8 points for the rest of the competition from? Like, that's the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I mean, and that's the thing. So the onus is going to be on Victory to win this one. But like I said, we can discuss that in a bit more depth going forward. But look, I have to get it off my chest. What about the refs? Again,
it's so frustrating.
I'm sick to death of talking about it. But that was the one, especially Melbourne City, Central Coast. I was watching a bit of that at the start, and I thought, here we go. This is going to be a good game. Like, Mariners put up a fight, and that was an interesting thing there. That goal that O'Donovan scored against City defense were like statues.
They were.
Like,
yeah.
he just tapped it in. And I thought, here we go, this is going to be a ripper game. And then here comes the red card, here comes the ref. Gotta be center stage, look at me. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, I don't know, do you think that was a red card?
No, and like, even if I did, like, what happened after the fact, like, in terms of like the match review panel, the FFA response, it's just not consistent. Like, Berisha got free off it. Like, it just seems like there's two different standards. Like, there's, like, the top teams, like the Victory, the Sydney, the Melbourne City, they have a different set of guidelines for the rest of the competition. I know that may seem like a bit conspiracy theory, but it just feels like there's two sets of rules.
It happens, I agree with you. And look, like, I actually thought the Berisha one might get upheld as well, just to protect the refs. And look, and I just thought, because, look, apparently to the letter of the law, and this is like a FIFA rule now, any contact, negligent or reckless or whatever to the face is considered a red card. So, okay, to the letter of the law, O'Donovan's was a red card, but how about some common sense and just to go, look, it was just some, innocent contact.
It is, yeah.
And just play on, or give him a yellow and play on. And to be honest, like I said, I thought the Berisha one would get upheld, because this is the conundrum that the FFA are in now. They control the A-League. They control the refs. They pick the refs. They divide up the money. They organise everything. The refs are horrible. That's a reflection on the FFA. So when it comes time for match review panel, which they also run, they have to basically back their boys in with all these horrible decisions. And I guess with the Berisha one, they let it go because it was too obvious that they had to let it go. With the O'Donovan one, I guess you could make a case that it was a red to the letter of the law, so they upheld it. And so they backed their boys in with another, like, rubbish decision, and it's just making the problem worse.
For me, the O'Donovan was barely a red. It was less than the Berisha to me. They didn't show replays of it properly. And then, like, the after effects, like the MRP, like, I don't get it. Like, I really don't get it.
It's flabbergasting, and like you said, it all goes back to consistency.
There it is.
Ryan Grant, Sydney FC, comes in with a leg breaker, yellow.
Oh, that frustrated me too. Yeah, like that.
And there's been multiple tackles like that. We saw the ones Adelaide had the start of their season pretty much ruined by a couple of, like, devastating tackles.
That was against Melbourne City, right? Against the City?
Yeah. I think it was Wanderers. I think Santa Lab was one, and Murray Clisby with one on Thirio. And this goes back to the refs again. They go for the easy decisions, right? Oh, well, he tapped him on the face, and I know that the rule says any contact with the face is a red, so they just pull out the red. It's like those ones where, if you kick the ball away after I blow the whistle, it's a yellow. Yeah, so they go for those easy decisions. When it's actually time to make a proper call, they're nowhere to be seen. They get it wrong all the time.
They do.
Like, it's getting ridiculous. And look, I think the coaches have played their part. They've toned down that aggressive behaviour, I think, a little bit. towards the refs, which is good because we don't want to see that. So I think the coaches have pulled their head in.
Is this a good time to mention Arsene Wenger?
Well, yeah. I mean,
we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that. But I mean, I think the coach abuse towards the ref was getting pretty ugly.
Yeah, I think the message has been received
for the most part. Yeah, and I think they're doing all right. Players, look, if you blow up as a player, you deserve everything you get. Whatever, I don't care. But how about, and it's just the same thing. Offsides, they're getting them wrong. Goals are being denied. Red cards for stupid things. But the dangerous tackles never get called. And they're the real concerning ones, the dangerous tackles.
Even the concussion with Cahill, did you see that? That was ridiculous that he was allowed to stay on the field. Like, he was clearly in trouble. Even the manager said he was, and there was nothing.
Nothing, yeah. It's getting ridiculous. I think the fact that the FFA aren't saying anything about it, that really irks me. I mean, I hope they're doing something behind the scenes.
Well, they redesigned the logos. They are clearly doing something.
Well, while we're in rant mode again, can I just kick in with this? Why are they? And I don't know if you saw on the Fox Sports website, there was actually like a bit of a promo that Fox Sports have on their site from the A-League about the league, like, a little bit of an ad for the A-League that FFA must have produced. Why is this happening mid-season?
I think...
what the hell? Wouldn't it have been like, they got Cahill in at the start of the season, they got Fornaroli back for another season, Brett Holman's back. There's some big names. Perth Glory had a strong... Wouldn't you want to do this marketing before the season starts?
I think it was initially meant to be at the same time the new TV rights got done, but there was uncertainty when that was happening. That's my only guess. Because I don't think it was assured that Fox were going to get it.
That's the other thing. Then you look at the logo, why that's being announced middle of the season. Again, it just smacks of a lack of planning from the FFA. Why are they changing the logo and hyping up the A-League middle of the season like that? It's just random. Do you know what I mean? And it just goes to that same thing of there's no planning, there's no cohesion. It's just, you know what? Let's do a new logo now. Why not? There's no coordinated anything. And the interesting thing is, I don't know if you saw the latest reports that South Melbourne had agreed to terms with Didier Drogba to be their marquee had they been accepted into the A-League. And he had pretty much said, look, I'm happy with the deal and I'm happy to play in the A-League and stuff, but obviously the earliest that Melbourne or South Melbourne would be accepted would be 18, 19 or whatever. And he was like, well, I can't, what am I going to do in the meantime? And so that brings to light then the third thing about the FFA. They keep going on about this criteria for expansion teams. Well, we're waiting on that. Apparently that's going to come out in February. So we'll see what they make of that. Whether they're actually going to release anything. That's another one to hold your breath on, I think, to see if they're actually going to come up with that. So,
Also haven't heard anything about the changes to the voting structure in the FFA. That was meant to happen in March. FIFA are forcing them to, adjust so there's more representation inside the actual body of the FFA.
Correct.
But haven't heard anything about the structure of that. I don't know if we can, will we hear that as a public? I assume we will, right?
Or they'll just do it under the radar or something, do you know what I mean? And just quietly make those changes.
Possibly,
It's just, I think the A-League is crying out for more from the FFA. It's just crying out for them to do more. The quality of the play and the tactics and this sort of stuff, it's getting better. And it's almost like the administration, the refs, the advertising, all the things that go around it, they can't keep up anymore. The game is ready to go to the next level and the FFA aren't ready to handle it.
It just seems like it, I don't know, this might be the wrong term, but it just feels like an old school boys club. It seems so enclosed, they're not willing to listen to the newer way to develop, the way to promote, the way to advertise. It just seems so silly to promote a new logo. At this point of the season, you either do it with Cahill.
Yeah.
When he first went to Melbourne City, or you wait till next season and you wait till the next big stars come in. I just don't get it. It's so much wrong with it.
That's right. It's just so random and it just screams of a lack of planning again. And it's just awareness. And like you said, it's just... it just smacks of people that don't know what they're doing and are just kind of by the numbers on everything. And, they put the heat on. They put the heat on Wellington. Oh, Wellington aren't doing enough for the A-League. We need to see better stuff from Wellington. They put the heat on the clubs. They put the heat on the players. They put the heat on everybody. But where's the heat on them to do better? Do you know what I mean? And like you said, and then they just make stuff up as they go along. Oh, well, we want to bring Cahill, so, this new marquee fund that they basically call it the Cahill rule and all this sort of stuff. Like when they want to bend over backwards or make a change or whatever, they'll do so. When it's too hard or they don't feel like it, they'll go, oh no, we can't do that. We can't just change the rules for someone. And like you said, and especially going back to the referees, like, people's careers are on the line. Managerial decisions are on the line. Like,
they are, yeah.
It needs to be more professionalism and more accountability. Something has to be done. It's just becoming a joke.
One of the SBS writers said that this is like pure hearsay speculation, right? Because I'm speaking about someone else, but like they were saying that they got a text from a high profile player and like a bunch of players think it's the worst refereeing standard the A-League's ever had. Yeah, which is a massive thing. Like.
It's embarrassing. And again, we're just not seeing anything from the FFA about what they're going to do about it. Like, all they want to do is defend the refs. And the O'Donovan decision smacks of that. They should have overturned that. But they've let it stand and they've painted themselves into a corner where they're just backing the refs the whole way. And that's a problem that they've created because, again, they manage the league, they manage the refs. So at the end of the day, the buck stops with them. So poor refereeing is a reflection on them and they don't want it. So they just back the refs in. Yeah. And it's just becoming a joke. And we're seeing goals disallowed. We're seeing good goals disallowed. We're seeing players, they overturned the Berisha decision, but Victory still had to play 30, 40 minutes with 10 men.
They did, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And why are the refs taking the linesman's word on this without even having seen it?
I know, exactly, yeah. I feel like there needs to be like video replays for that sort of thing. Even in England, we'll talk about the EPL later, like there was decisions based off like in the Arsenal game that went purely off the linesman decision and like you just question like how much can they see it from that far away?
That's right, yeah. But look, FFA ran time over. Everybody's, I think, is probably getting sick of it, us talking about it, but we just want better. Like, that's all it is. Like, we're not criticising just for the sake of it. I think these are all legitimate points. It's not good enough and we want to see better. So the challenge is out there for the FFA to do better.
Do you have any comments on the Sydney Adelaide game and the Wellington Brisbane game? For me, like Sydney, I thought Adelaide in the first half were pretty competitive. We've seen so many times this season where Sydney score a quick fire 2 goals and it just puts the contest to bed. Graham Arnold actually came out and said it was their best performance. I don't actually agree with that, but I thought they were very convincing.
Yeah, look, Sydney again, they're just too good basically. And again, like Adelaide played the best that they could almost. Like, you can't say Adelaide played badly. It's just that Sydney didn't let them play and Sydney didn't let them do anything and didn't let them create anything. And that's just how good Sydney have been all season. They stifle the other team and don't let them create anything. And again, like Ninkovic, man, he's just a maestro this season. Like, he's just gone to another level. He's so good. I think Ninkovic up front has been the key. I think the fact that they've had Brosk fit all season, and he's on like a second lease of life now. He's been really good, and I think up back, they were smart to get Wilkinson. Wilkinson actually came back to the A-League from Korea via Melbourne City. And they had him for the rest of that season. Last season, he went over to Sydney FC and he's been a rock up the back there. He's just been unstoppable. So Sydney, that's the difference. Sydney, even when they're not at their best or whatever, they'll still win 2 or 3-0 and make it look quite easy. And that's what makes them so impressive this season. Brisbane Roar Wellington, well, again,
we've spoken about this before, right? But I feel like you either sell McLaren or you play him, right? There's no, you don't cut off your nose to spite your face type situation, right? Like, he is your best striker. clearly. There's no like opinion about that, in my opinion. It's just fact.
Yeah.
And so you either play him and you take advantage of like the wage and the marquee status you're paying him, or you go for someone else, right? You can't put him on the bench.
No, I don't think you can put a striker who's allegedly out of form on the bench. Like, it's ridiculous. Keogh's out of form. No one's benched him.
Exactly.
Berisha's been out of form for a lot of the season. He hasn't been benched. Now he's leading the Golden Boot because Muscat showed faith in him. They're strikers. They're going to go on dry spells. I don't see how a striker can be that bad that you have to bench him. Like, and like you said, he's probably their best player, period. Like, they don't have the depth. They've replaced him with, like, Arana, who's hopeless. As you know, to be blunt, he's absolutely hopeless.
To be fair, like we spoke about the players they've got leaving, this may be their best chance to win a title for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, look, I think there's an element there where I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but there's something going on.
It's about to fall apart. It really is.
Oh, look, it's going to blow up because I think who knows what's actually happened. Obviously, there's the problem is that, like you said, even if he doesn't leave, he doesn't want to re-sign for Brisbane because his agents come out and said the offer's a pittance.
Yeah.
Like, they're offering him rubbish money. So I don't see him re-signing with Brisbane anyway, and then they're going to lose him for free. Either he's going to go to another A-League club or he's just going to try his luck in the off-season anyway. So they're shooting themselves in the foot. Just play him. Like, he's better. He's your best player almost. He's easily your best striker. And who else have you got? Like, they don't have anyone to replace him with anyway. So I don't see how you can say that it's based on form. Like, he's a striker.
It's not based on form.
Yeah,
it's not.
There's politics there. So
yeah.
It's disappointing. And it's spiraled out of control for Brisbane, and Aloisi can't handle it at the moment, I think, and it's costing them. Like, they lost 3 on the trot. They snapped their losing streak thanks to guess who? McLaren.
McLaren.
So apart from him, they've got nothing at the moment. So, you know, I think they need to be playing him week in, week out.
About Wellington, you think they'll be disappointed? Obviously, beating Victory sort of alleviates any sort of like bad feelings about this game. They may think it was a lost opportunity, right? Because I don't know if you want to talk, like we spoke about Adelaide quickly, but Adelaide and Wellington actually play each other next round. And for Wellington especially, like their next games, right, they play Sydney FC and they travel away to Sydney and Brisbane. They're home to Wanderers, Melbourne City and the Glory. That's their next 5 games after the Adelaide game. So they're really, really tough. Like, for me, this Adelaide game, I don't know if you want to preview it now, but this is must win for Wellington. Like, they've done well. They got the 2 games, you know, they won the 2 games at home in the 3 8-day period. But I feel like if they don't win this, all that good work against Melbourne Victory, it's all completely undone.
Yeah, and I think they're unconvincing for me. I think their defence is, again, the biggest worry. Durante, I mean, I really like him. He's been a strong defender in the A-League for a long, long time, but another sloppy piece of defending from him cost them the goal against Brisbane, where he just got turned inside out like nothing. So
yeah,
that's their problem. And still, their strike force has just been hit and miss all season as well. They might just scrape into the 6 just by default, but I can't see them making an impact. I think Glory definitely look better than them, and I think probably the Jets do, and maybe even the Wanderers do as well. So I don't see Wellington doing anything in the rest of the season.
What'd you make of the Jets? Like, I think Nordstrand missed out on that game, but you think Newcastle would have enough depth there, like considering like how good they've looked in an attacking sense, like to be shut out from the Wanderers, who, you know, they've defensively been suspect, to like completely shut out 2-0. It's a big result for the Wanderers. I mean, to get that hoodoo away just based off it, you know, alone is a big thing for them, I think. Yeah,
and look, I mean, to be fair, Jets did have a few opportunities, and again, they weren't that bad. They weren't terrible, but it just didn't happen for them. I think a win was probably a long time in the making for the Wanderers there at home. So, you know, I think it was bound to happen, and Jets had to be the victims, but I wouldn't write the Jets off at this stage. I think they will have their slip-ups like that, but again, they weren't terrible. It's just that they weren't as clinical as they have been in the past, but I don't think it's over for the Jets by any stretch just yet.
Yeah, it's a close competition, isn't it? A lot of teams still in it.
Yeah.
You know, back to Adelaide just quickly. How important is Isaiah to them? Like, I find it strange that there's not more clubs like going after him. Like, in all intents and purposes, a DM, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's how I call him.
Yeah.
This is for Adelaide United. He's second for chances created, equal first in assists, third for shots, first in passes completed. Like, he literally does everything for Adelaide.
He's the only one, I think, that can hold his head up high this season almost.
And the Grusho, the left back, I think he's
Grusho's been good. Maybe Elrich has been all right as well. But Isaias... And look, I think clubs
why is
were
no one interested in him?
Well, I think they were.
Yeah.
Reds have re-signed him, I think, for 3 years, in fact. So I think clubs were circling. I think Melbourne City were one of them because he is. And it's interesting, you don't have that many quality CDMs in the league. I'd say him, maybe Valeri's pretty good. There's not really that many. Griffiths for Glory, maybe he's all right. But I think, like you said, he creates a lot. He's quite an attacking CDM as well. He's been the standout for them all season.
Yeah, he's been very, very good. I'm just surprised that, like, he just doesn't seem to get, like, the
He doesn't get the plaudits,
praise.
does he? Nah,
Yeah,
I think he just goes a bit under the radar because he's not flashy. I think he just does the business. But when you actually look at the stats, that's when you actually see just how important he is and how much quality he has.
Is there anything about round 16 you want to talk about? Because obviously, if not, we'll go straight into the big blue game.
Yeah, look,
on
I think
Thursday.
I'm exhausted after venting about the FFA again. So yeah, let's have a look at the upcoming matches.
Yeah, let's just go straight to the big one. Melbourne Victory, Sydney FC. We sort of mentioned already that for me, if Victory don't win, I think the title's over. I don't think a draw's enough, especially at home. I think if they draw in Sydney the next game, I think they can get away with that. Yeah. But this has to be a win for them.
They got to win it. I mean, that's why I'm looking forward to a good game because, like you said, sometimes these ones can be dud games, the build up, and you see
we've seen that already this season.
That's right, and you see it in EPL every now and then. You know, Chelsea, Man United, or whatever. It's like the most boring 0-0 draw ever because no one wants to give an inch. But I think in this one we're going to see action. Melbourne Victory know they have to take the game to Sydney. There's a bit of talk in the media between Muscat and Arnold and whatnot. So I think this one's going to be a ripper game. You've got so many quality players. Victory are red hot still. Their losses will hurt them, but I think back in Melbourne, they've had a full week this time almost. I think they'll be ready to go.
How would you approach this game if you were Sydney? Because I think there's two trains of thought, right? You either you know the pressure's off on you, so you just sit back, counter, let Victory attack you because they're under pressure, or do you say, you know what, we're the best team in the competition, let's go out and try to outscore them and see what happens? Because Victory are known. You don't think so?
Nah, no way. I can't see Sydney doing that, and I don't think they've rarely done that. I think they will sit back big time.
How important do you think the invincible status is to them?
A lot. I think it's...
Do you think that'll, like, if, say, Victory beat them, do you think, like, we'll see a change in Sydney FC's, like... Because momentum, we saw it with Leicester last season. It's a real thing. Like, it is a tangible thing you can see. Like, when teams have momentum, they're very hard to stop. But, you know, if Sydney lose, you just don't know, right?
Well, and that's why I think that Sydney will be cautious because, they've got the record, and I reckon the record actually means more to Arnold than it does to Sydney, to the players.
Yeah, I think so
he
too.
wants that for his ego.
The players don't talk about it, right? He does.
No, he keeps talking it up. So he wants that for his own ego. So that there's that, and like you said, there's the momentum, and... They know Melbourne have to win. Melbourne have to go for the win, and they will be aggressive, and I think they're going to sit back. I think they're going to be prepared for a physical barrage from Victory in terms of heavy tackling, high pressing, in your face. Berisha might be going a bit Burko, like the people, players.
Do you remember the Holosco thing? I'm using the image as the round review when we release that later tomorrow. It's where Berisha missed that penalty and Holosco got in his face.
Got in his face randomly. Like I didn't even think was there any build up there?
No, it wasn't.
It just randomly just like went off. I don't know because that was weird because I thought maybe they thought he milked the penalty, but that was a genuine pen. I thought as well. So I don't know what Sydney were upset about there, but they went off at him. This one's going to be a ripper, I think. Victory, they're going to take the game to Sydney, and this will be the test. Can they do it? Like, this is the grand final prelude as far as I'm concerned, and this will be a test for the Victory. At home, take the game to Sydney. Let's see what you got. Sydney are just going to sit back and wait. They'll absorb, and then, like you said, they hit in bursts. And they've got quality. They got Ninkovic, they got Holosko, they got Bobo, they got Brosk, they got Matt Simon off the bench, Akani. I think that Sydney will sit back, wait, and strike if the opportunity is right. If it's not, they'll be happy for a goalless draw as well. So I'm really hoping Victory do score some goals. And then we might see Sydney FC react, because if Victory can't break them down, 0-0 and could be a bore draw.
It's just crazy to think that if Victory lose it, that's 3 defeats in a row. Like, where's that come from? It's pretty crazy how quickly things can change.
Yeah.
Do you give Melbourne Victory a chance? Because we just said, right, how a draw probably isn't enough. Can you see Victory actually winning this game?
I can. With the likes of Rojas especially. Troisi's in good form now. Ben Kalfala. Berish is always a threat. They've got good defence as well. They've got, I think, Alan Barrow's been good for them in recent weeks as well in defence. Broxham's good. Valeri's there as well. I think they're pretty solid in defence at the moment as well. And I just don't think it's really only a question of can they break down Sydney. I think that's all it comes down to. I don't think they'll cop goals themselves. I think it's whether they can break Sydney down. If they can break Sydney down and score a goal, then maybe Sydney will open up. If they can't break Sydney down, then I can't see Sydney trying to attack them as well. So I'm really hoping for goals, early goals from Victory, set the stage. Then we might see a fight back from Sydney and the game might open up, and then who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, fingers crossed this game isn't just a dull... if it goes in at 0-0 half-time, I think this game's going to be so boring. Fingers crossed Melbourne Victory can score earlier. Yeah. I do think it's going to be a draw, unfortunately. I think it's going to be like a 1-1.
Yeah.
As I said, I think if Victory do draw, the title's over. So, as a neutral, I hope Victory can get up. Not sure they can. What about you? What do you think?
You're right. I don't think they can either, because I just can't see Sydney FC losing. So I think it might be a scoring draw as well. I'm going to go a 1-1, and fingers crossed there's no referee intervention.
That adds the excitement, though.
Yeah.
What about the Friday night game? To me, it's just as big, considering City and Brisbane Roar both sort of teetering on the edge of dropping down into the pack that is very competitive. Newcastle at home, they probably have to win, considering their form late. They haven't been that great, to be honest, to me.
I think they can knock off City here.
I think they can too.
At home.
Unless the refs get involved.
Well, look, I mean, at home, I think that they've been pretty decent. And like we said, I'm not seeing how City... What's so good about City anymore? They've got nothing. The only standout for them is Cahill. I just can't see them being creative enough.
The last 5 away trips have been 3 draws and 2 losses.
Yeah. And that tells a story, doesn't it? They've lost their mojo, whatever it was.
They haven't won away from home since they beat Victory in October the 15th.
Wow.
And that's in Melbourne, right?
Wow. That's I guess away, but really in Melbourne.
Yeah, exactly. October, jeez.
That's horrible, isn't it? I mean, it's just you see it in the stats. Like you said, the goals have dried up, but they're leaking them down the other end, and they just don't have that spark that they had. So Jets do, on the other hand, and I think Friday night could be a big crowd there, because the crowd will turn out for Cahill as well and stuff like that. So I think the Jets might be spurred on. I'm going to tip them for a win. It would still be an upset, I think, but I think they can do it.
Yeah, I think Newcastle, even off the signings, the announcements, I think the crowd know that next season's going to be a big one. So I wouldn't be surprised if the fans are fully behind them for the rest of this season. If they can get into the finals, knock off a big team, I think they can beat City, and I expect them to make the finals, to be honest.
Yeah, look, I mean, they're making a late charge. Like I said, the fans are behind them. The writing's on the wall that they're on the up.
Yeah.
And they're being proactive and getting the squad ready for next season already. So, look, I think it's good signs for the Jets. And for City, if they lose this, and let's say Glory win...
and Brisbane beat the Wanderers.
Brisbane beat the Wanderers. Yeah, City are in strife then, big time. So... I want to see City do more, and probably at the start of the season, everyone thought maybe Victory City Grand Final, or City Sydney Grand Final, but they've lost it. So I don't know how they're going to turn it around, but I don't think it'll be this weekend.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Now, I'm the most pessimist Perth Glory fan in the world, so convince me why Perth Glory are going to beat the Mariners, because we talk about Melbourne City's away form. Perth haven't won. They've 4 draws and 2 losses in 6 away games. Now, I guess 4 draws on the road isn't too bad, but at some point they've got to start winning, right?
Well, let me tell you about Perth Glory, my friend. They're a strange beast, the Glory. You never know what you're going to get with them.
It's like a Kinder Surprise.
Yeah, look, but one of those bad ones sometimes where you just, something's wrong in the middle there. I don't know. And this is another one. I think they might be a chance here against the Mariners. For one, Mariners are without O'Donovan, who's their main striker, really.
Yeah. Connor Payne's gone quiet.
Connor Payne's gone quiet. Ferreira's on and off. Haven't seen much of Tavares or Fatih all season as well. And like I said, I just think Glory are building up steam. Taggart's fit now. He's playing. Castro's just pulling the strings in the middle. Keogh's always a threat.
He needs a goal.
He does. But look, I mean, in a trio there, it's not the end of the world if he doesn't score. They've still got Riston for the end of the season. Griffiths might be back after his red card. I can't remember.
I think it was 2 games. He might be out this week.
Look, yeah. I'll give the Glory a chance. If they're going to get a win on the road, this is the one. Mariners a bit under strength.
Speaking of, did you see Rhys Williams' Twitter? He posted about
what's going on.
I don't know. It's
what's
weird,
going on?
It?
I mean, first there was actually the tweet from the Glory CEO, because they had it looked like things were turning around, because they actually named Rhys Williams in the squad. He got named in the matchday squad, and then Williams withdrew due to a hamstring complaint. So they sent him off to the dock. And there was nothing. And so the Glory CEO tweets and says, Rhys Williams out due to suspected hamstring injury. But the good news is the MRI scan came back clean. And then his next tweet was, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And everyone thought, oh, wow, what's this innuendo? And then at the press conference after Glory beat the Victory, Kenny Lowe, first up, all the questions are about Rhys Williams, and Kenny Lowe flipped out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that presser, but he flipped out. He was like, why is everybody asking me about Williams? There's no story there. No one wants to talk about the Victory game. Look how well we played. No one wants to talk about that. Everyone wants to talk about Williams. And he kept saying, why is everybody trying to make something out of nothing? Their CEO's the one who tweeted a cryptic message about you can't lead a horse to water.
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell? And who the hell does that? I think they're at the end of their rope with Williams. Because obviously they were ready to turn the corner by naming him in the squad, and he's gone, oh, nah, I got a hammy. They're like, all right, go get an MRI scan. Nothing there. No, nothing there. So then they were like, oh, I guess we should tell everyone that you're a liar by posting it on Twitter. And it's just made it even worse now. So
do you see him featuring for the club for the rest of the season?
No way. I see him peeling the oranges down. I
see the youths.
He'll be peeling the oranges for the youth team. He'll be it's all over for him. I think he's just going to have to tough it out now till the end of the season and get out. Because I heard that what they said was actually his contract's only for a year. The option for the second year was if he played 20 games, he would trigger the second year.
So that's why he might not be playing.
Well, but he hasn't played anyway. If he had played 18 and then suspiciously went out with a hammy for the rest of the...
How many did he play? 4 or 5?
I think he played 3 or 4. And look, I just don't know what happened. Did he just have some massive falling out with Kenny Lowe or what happened? Because he got made, I think, to be a bit of a scapegoat in one of their early bad games. It might have even been that first game against the Mariners when they drew 3-3. I know he had a shocker in a couple of the early games. And I don't know if that was the end of it. Maybe Kenny Lowe had a go at him, or some players had a go at him, or something happened there. Because he started the season and he was woeful. And I don't know what's happened since then, but he's been on the outer and it's not getting resolved anytime soon. So, look, I don't know what did Williams say on his Twitter there?
I couldn't find it. He was saying something about a lot of people are talking that have no idea. It was just sort of a vague like sort of
people have no idea. I tore my hamstring off the bone. The MRI scan's just inconclusive. It's
I drink a lot of milk. There's like good recovery in my bones.
He's been watching Trump. Maybe he's like presenting alternate facts.
facts.
You say I don't have a hamstring injury, but I say I do. You have MRI scans to prove that I don't, but I believe that I do have a hamstring injury for the rest of the season.
Same with Kenny Lowe. What's this about? There's nothing wrong between me and Rhys Williams.
Yeah, look, I mean, I like Kenny Lowe. He's entertaining, but he's in total denial there. And maybe one day the story will come out, but it's just Perth Glory, like, find a way to, like, self-combust every time. Remember when, like, Alistair Edwards was there and things were going good, and then all of a sudden there was, like, that revolution? It was like a revolt led by the players. Oh, no, we don't want Alistair Edwards, blah, blah. They imploded. Finally rebuild the squad with Kenny Lowe, Tony Sage.
Maybe there's something in the water over here.
Well, and then they got it all back. Salary cap drama. Yeah. We've been paying Keogh $500,000 off the books. They were headed for a grand final. Implosion again. Yeah. Here we go again. Start of the season, Glory, title favourites, possible title favourites. Everyone's talking them up. Glory, nah, look, I think we'll finish about 6th or 7th. That's more our style. Like, what the hell?
It keeps happening.
It keeps happening, mate. You look at it, like on the weekend they played Victory, they were really good. The crowd was big, the atmosphere was big, and it just showed you get a good squad that's playing well, home crowd, parochial home ground, teams would struggle there, and the Glory could go all the way. Because Victory go over there and cop a loss all the time. So they just, I don't know what it is. Like there's something in the water there at Glory. They just cannot, it's self-destruction.
Do you think Glory can navigate this season without Rhys Williams?
Yeah, I think they can. I mean, he hasn't been in the squad. I mean, if they had him and he was at full fitness and at the peak of his powers, they'd be a better side. I agree, but I don't think they've missed him because
he hasn't been there.
He hasn't been there, so he hasn't shown what he can do. But back to the game, I think against the Mariners, I think they can get the points here. I think it'll be a narrow one. I think it might be 2-1 for the Glory. I just think Taggart will score again. And look, Marinkovic is red hot at the moment as well and whatnot. So I just think they've got too much quality. It's starting to click for them ever so slowly. And I think against the Mariners, they can do it.
Yep, I'm going to go a draw because I don't trust Perth Glory's defence. So
You're not a believer.
No, I'm not a believer. We'll go 1-1. Yeah. What about Brisbane Roar Wanderers? It's probably one of the most hardest games to predict in many ways, I feel like. I think Brisbane Roar, they just got to start McLaren. Wanderers have not been the best away from home. Do you think Brisbane can win this game?
Oh, this is, like you said, this is a tough one because
I think it's the hardest to predict.
Both teams can't score a goal to save their lives pretty much.
No, they can't. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. I just want to see whether McLaren starts on the bench again or not. The first week it was a bit of a talking point. It seems to have even become more of a talking point after last round. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen there for him now. In terms of, are they going to start him on the bench again, or is he going to be back?
Start.
He's got to start. Surely at home on a Saturday night against the Wanderers. Like if you don't start him, then it's obvious that there's something.
Everyone's talking about it too. They're pretty much saying that if you don't play him, you've got to sell him. You can't have a player like him on the bench. So
Brisbane Roar aren't good enough to keep him on the bench. Like they can't find a goal. So this one's going to be 0-0, 1-0 to someone. I think Santalab's back now for the Wanderers.
Yeah, he should be, yeah.
This one could go either way. Like I said, this is a tough one. I really don't know. I might just give it to Brisbane at home, 1-0. But that's a guess at best.
I think it'll be nil or draw, to be honest. I don't think either team are going to score.
Yeah, I could see that as well. I think it's a tough one.
We spoke about this game already a bit. Adelaide United, Wellington Phoenix, must-win game for Wellington. Even if Adelaide win, I don't think it does anything for them. So I think all the pressure, all the momentum has to be behind Wellington. They've got really tough fixtures coming. They just got to win. Like I'm not sure. Like I can see Adelaide winning this game, but I just feel like because what Wellington have to play for, they'll get over the line somehow.
Well, you think so. I mean, like you said, it's all on the line. They've actually got something to play for. So if they can't come to Adelaide and make a game of it, then there's something wrong with them, I think. But Adelaide, again, you never know. They at home, they're still getting the support. I think they've smoothed things over there with the crowd. Like, the crowd's still behind them and stuff. So I think they might back themselves against Wellington just because Wellington are so flaky as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if Wellington get the points on this one.
With Guardiola, like, I don't think he's going to play. I think he's gone.
If he's gone, yeah, he won't play.
Yeah, so I'm not sure, like, how they score goals anymore. Like, if they don't bring someone else in. Because they haven't even announced James Holland's gone.
That's right, yeah. Like, they still haven't actually...
Like, is anyone actually, like, running that club? Like, who turns the lights on in the morning? Like, I really am curious.
Who's running the Twitter account? That's what I want to know. Where's the tweet confirming that Holland has departed? Yeah, like,
yeah,
what's
going
on?
I need to do some questions about that. Like, I need to find out what's going on.
It's not, it's just not going good for them at United at the moment. So, and to be, with all of that going on, the fans still turn out. So, you got to give them some credit. Yeah. But look, I would like to think that Wellington can get the points, but at home, Adelaide on a Sunday, decent home crowd, they'll back themselves. Phoenix are flaky as well. I'll give it to the Phoenix 2-1.
Yeah, I think if Wellington score a goal, they'll win. I don't think Adelaide are going to score. So it'll either be a low-scoring 1-0 or it'll be like a 0 or draw. I don't think Adelaide... I don't know. They don't find ways to goals. Maybe Isaiah will score a screamer, but yeah, I think it'll be a tight game.
It'll be a tough one, yeah.
So let's move on. EPL.
Whoa.
It's been an interesting week.
Happening.
I think the highlight for me was Swansea beating Liverpool.
Yeah, huge.
I thought that was interesting, and obviously in an Arsenal sense, we've got Arsene Wenger pushing the fourth official. We've got Granit Xhaka getting a red card again. John Moss was the guy that got him sent off that first time. I don't know if you remember, but he cynically took someone off the ball.
Yep.
And it was like the only red card we've ever seen for doing that.
Yeah.
And then he's got Granit Xhaka saying a racial slur at the airport.
Yep.
What'd you make of the EPL this week? And obviously,
it's all happening.
Yeah, Man United drew to Stoke as well, which was huge to them. We got the City and Spurs game, which was a draw.
Yeah.
Spurs were 2-0 up, was it? Or City were 2-0 up? What'd you make of the game?
Oh, look, I think... Look, first of all, Liverpool going down, that's huge.
It is huge, yeah.
Swansea...
There was a stat coming out that said that Klopp and Louis van Gaal on the same win percentage in the first 50 games.
Yeah, right.
But you look at the way that they're viewed, it's just completely different.
Yeah. Well, it's all about perception, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Look, Arsenal move into second now off the back of that. But look, yeah, couple of interesting points from that one. Xhaka, I think now they're saying if you go by red cards, one of the dirtiest players in all of Europe. I think that's five red cards now.
Yeah.
Something's got to be done, and Wenger called him out on it.
He did,
Wenger actually said he's got to stop doing that because he's hurting the team because he gets sent off.
In between getting banned himself.
Yeah, that's right. Well, and that really surprised me. If it was Mourinho, I could understand, or if it was Wenger pushing Mourinho, I can understand. But for Wenger to go off at the refs, that's uncharacteristic, I think. And I don't know why he would do it. I don't know. What's he hoping to get out of it? Leave that to the idiots, I think. Wenger's better than that. So that was surprising to see that from Arsene Wenger. I really thought so.
How long do you think he'll be banned for? Because there's been obviously when something like this happens, you've got crazy people that come out and post articles saying he should be banned for 10 games and all this sort of crazy things. I mean, Luis Suarez didn't even get 3 games for his racial slur. I don't think. Did he? He got 2.
Yeah, but again, this goes to the double standards. Luis Suarez, superstar of the EPL, they want him on the field, conspiracy theories and all that. But look, I reckon Wenger 3 to 5 games, something like that.
Yeah, I think it'll be 2 or 3.
3 would be fair. I mean, I just don't know why he did it. It's just stupid.
Just in the moment, I think because he realised if Arsenal didn't win whatever title chance they had was gone. So
what's the fourth official going to do? Oh, stop pushing me, Mr. Wenger. Here, I'll run onto the field and overturn the. What do you want?
Yeah,
what do you want him to do? And Arsene Wenger's like a frail old man now. Like, what do you leave the fourth official could have just like knocked him out or like leave him alone. Like, calm down, Arsene. It's okay. Like, you're not going to win the title anyway. Like, you're 8 points behind Chelsea. Like, forget about it. Don't stress. You're going to make the top 4. You'll probably make the top 4. You'll get your Champions League. It's all good. Relax, Arsene. But that was interesting for me. The other talking point I thought was the Man City-Tottenham game, the Raheem Sterling...
the push.
The push that wasn't And this is just like typical of the whole debate, the whole penalty diving, like clear push, clearly interrupted in his shot, clear free kick / penalty, nothing done about it. If he fell over, it would be a pen. So,
I think it goes even further than that. I think because Raheem Sterling has like a reputation to dive that, like, even if he went down, I don't think the ref would have given it to him.
I mean, that's just such an obvious push. It's a shove.
Yeah, it is.
He was shoved in the back as he was taking the shot. Like, you couldn't see a clearer pen. But it goes back to that thing that, sometimes players, the diving probably started with a lot of players in that you've got to, like, try and accentuate that contact because... sometimes it just doesn't get seen. Like when there's so many bodies in the box, you might get kicked in the shin and it puts you off and it might even make you sort of stumble or fumble or whatever. But if there's nobody there to see it and you're still standing, well, I guess it's play on. But so you kind of have to accentuate that contact. But just
do you think players should? Because, I mean, you can even take that back to the A-League, right? We see like elbows in the face and you see players go down as if they got their nose broken. Like,
that's right.
It's obviously making sure that the ref sees it, right, or expects something to happen. Like, is that on the players to make sure that they are like hamming it up to make sure, like, so the ref knows it happened, or is it like just on like the referees and like needing video evidence to see that it's actually happened?
Well, I think you're right. The onus is on the refs. They should be seeing it and making the correct call. The fact that they don't and they aren't is why the players are hamming it up and having to accentuate the contact to show the ref. But, I mean, that was blatant. Like, there was no one around them, I don't think.
No.
Like, he was just shoved in the back. Like, how obvious do you want it? So I think it's a chicken and egg thing, and the players are accentuating it because the refs aren't calling it when it's there. So it goes both ways, and then the players feel like they have to accentuate it, and then everyone goes, "Oh, why are you diving?" and stuff like that, and "Oh, he made a meal of it." When they don't, the refs aren't good enough to pick up on it. So the onus is on the refs, I think, to be better and to make those calls.
I think it's impressive that we've gone from Australia to England and we've still managed to switch it back to the referees.
Oh, look, it's always about the refs.
We could take it to each continent and just go back to refs.
Why don't we just make a ref podcast? Let's just
ref rant, an hour a week. We just like go around the world and we talk about examples and we just destroy every official. Look,
I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy because it is hard to be a ref. I understand, and like I think in the Premier League generally, like you'd say, there's a high standard, but you still see a lot of mistakes, and that's why you say, like, at the end of the day, let's just have some sort of technology. Like, it doesn't have to be difficult. Like,
red cards and for offsides, it needs to be video replay.
Yeah, offsides.
I think you need to make sure that the goals are actually correct and the red cards are correct. I think those are the two big things that change the game the most.
Yeah, I think definitely for an offside, it's not hard.
No.
Like, you could get a decision within 30 seconds, 15 seconds.
You've got the goalkeeper taking 40 seconds to kick the friggin' ball away anyway. I mean,
that's right.
You must be able to see it.
Yeah, that's right. And then, like you said, the red cards as well. Just take a second look. And I don't know, like, how far you want to go. Do you even have, like, that players can appeal? Like, you get one appeal per team per match. So, like, that handball, Wanderers versus Sydney. Wanderers reckon it's a handball. Ref doesn't call it. Go, okay, we're appealing it.
Yeah.
That's our appeal for the whole match. Oh, look, it turns out it was a pen. All right, there you go. Again, like, I know it's the thing I like about football is that it flows. It's not like, especially like, say, for basketball, NBA, the clock, stop the clock. there's 12 seconds to go, and then they pass it, time out.
Yeah.
Oh, now there's 9.7 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't want to get football is just 45 minutes and it just goes, and then you have a little bit of injury time. So you don't want interruptions, but if you can just say, look, one appeal per team and all offsides,
it's where there's already natural replays from the television.
That's right. It's
broadcast. I think if you're showing replays there, you can review it in that time. Or
they don't even have to interrupt it. They can just have the fourth official watching it from the TV.
Yeah.
And just if they call it offside, he can just overrule and go, ref, in the mic to the ref on the ground and just go, ref, no, that was actually not offside.
Yeah, exactly.
And the ref, and they don't even have to show the replay or stop the game. The ref can just overturn it.
Yeah.
As they, know what I mean? They can even just do it like that. So I think we're getting there. They will slowly. I think with FFA Cup, the FFA had that extra linesman who was just on the goal line. So that's.
I think we'll see it in England shortly. I think if Australia, the NBN, probably wait till 2020 or something.
Yeah. The thing I like the drama of football, and sometimes the fact that, you do get robbed because of a dubious decision or something like that. That adds to the drama and the emotion of football. And that's what makes football special. But it's just there's too many now. There's too many incorrect decisions and the game's too fast and the players, the refs can't be everywhere and it's just too much going on that you have to do it, unfortunately. So it's up to everybody to find a way, I think.
Yeah, it's just a balance. It's a constant balance. And I think, for the off-the-ball stuff or for things where the ball goes out of play, I think there should be replays. I think you can still keep the craziness that is football with the individual referee making decisions and still have video assistance. So I think there is a balance there.
Yeah, agreed.
What do you make about the upcoming games? Obviously, the big game for me is Liverpool-Chelsea. That's on the Wednesday.
That's huge.
Wait, why is that on a Wednesday?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's probably EPL's trying to squeeze a lot of fixtures in at the moment as well.
It's on the 1st of Feb. Interesting.
There's a bunch of games on that Wednesday. Arsenal as well, and Sunderland, Tottenham. So I don't know why. Is that because something's coming up soon?
There's
international
Champions League, but
as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. The FA Cup's on the weekend, I think, maybe.
Oh, might be, yeah. Because there's a bit of a gap there, yeah. So, yeah, that is interesting.
Well, that's an early morning for any EPL lovers on the Wednesday morning, sorry. What's that, 6:45 your time?
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. Look, I think the other interesting one is, there's a couple of good ones coming up. I think one is West Ham Man City, because West Ham are back in a big way.
They are, yeah. They're doing very well.
I think, we talked about it last week. They've unified in their hatred for Payet, and that's
he still hasn't left. Weirdly, they have rejected another bid. I don't know what's going on there.
So what? They're going to reject bids for him, but ostracize him and not. What's the deal there? Just let him go.
I guess they want to prove a point to him, right? To try to get as much money as possible. I think Marseille actually came out and said we're not interested in him anymore, but that might just be a transfer tactic, and they'll come back when West Ham go, oh, wait a minute, we can't have Payet sitting on the bench.
Yeah, oh, wait a minute, we can actually make some money off him.
They bid 27 mil and they rejected it straight out.
Yeah, I don't know what the end game is there for West Ham,
but egos, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, look, but what I do know is they've unified it's unified them as a team, and all of a sudden they're back. They're back in a big way. So,
same with Everton. They're doing really well.
Everton, but look, can West Ham take it to City? Maybe. Can they get a draw out of that at least?
Possible.
You can't see City, going down to them, but you never know. The other one I think is Leicester. Leicester are right back
Burnley.
in that.
Yeah,
Burnley aren't
very
bad.
good at home.
Burnley aren't bad at all.
Burnley actually at home are very good. They on away they've only had the one draw, and I have a guess what team that is that they've drawn against away.
Arsenal.
Man United.
Oh, was it? Okay.
That's the only draw. They've lost every other game.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, they're not a bad side at all, and
no, at home, very good.
Leicester,
I think they'll beat Leicester personally.
Well, look, Leicester are in trouble again. They just can't get out of that mess at the moment. Yeah,
They've got Mahrez and Silmani coming back from the African Cup.
Yeah, that could be a boost.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, when Swansea pull out a win like they did on the weekend, to just drag themselves, another win from Swansea and
Palace.
Look, I mean, danger signs for Leicester. I think they're still going to be safe. I think in the grand scheme of things, they'll get out of it. But they're in a spot of bother. They really are. And look at their goal difference, -13. I mean, that's worse than Middlesbrough. That's worse than Palace.
When's the last time Vardy scored a goal?
I know. I can't remember. Couldn't tell you. It's been a long time, and I don't know what it is with them. They've fallen off the face of the earth. So I think they'll still be okay, but there'll be a few cagey matches, I think, for them in the upcoming weeks as well.
Do you think anyone catches Chelsea?
No way.
I don't think so. I think they walk the league more comfortably than Sydney do.
Yeah, just the fact that, again, Tottenham, Liverpool, Man City, no one wants to seem to take it. Arsenal are there or thereabouts, but can Arsenal make up? Yeah, and can they make up 8 points on Chelsea? Like,
they play them very soon the next game.
And look, the only other thing is that Arsenal do tend to go on those end of season runs.
Once they get knocked out of the Champions League and the FA Cup.
Yeah, that's right. So if they are within touching distance, maybe this will be the one. But then again, I don't think they'd have the nerve for it anyway. So, yeah, I'd put my money on Chelsea at this stage.
Yeah, me too, easily. Anything else you want to talk about quickly?
No, I think that's. I think we got everything off our chest there.
It's a little bit longer this week, but we finally got there. Frogs tried to do their best to interrupt us again, but we persevered.
We won't let them. So yeah, bring on Australia Day, bring on the Big Blue, and should be a good weekend of football.
Yeah, it should be great. I hope everyone enjoys their public holiday tomorrow, and we'll be back next week. I think games start on Fridays again. So it's a little bit longer of a break for us, which is always good. Thanks for joining me once again, Ed.
Thank you.
And we will see everyone this time next week. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.